G'day, I'm Darren Middleton, and it's a very special day today. It is the 5th birthday of the AU Review, so happy birthday, AU.
Very kind of you. Thanks for taking the time. It's we were just talking. You got to perform last night and play some brand new material for people. So yeah, how'd it go?
It went really well. I was really happy with it. And I was pretty nervous before the gig because it's the first gig I'd done in probably about 3 years. The very first gig for this record, this band, I've got the translators, and I loved it. I was right in the moment, enjoying it. Walked off stage sweaty and feeling really good, so I was really happy with it.
Fantastic. Well, you can't ask for much more than that.
No, it was good.
So there's been a few little teasers coming out here and there. Let Go has done quite well, and is a fantastic track. And I imagine there's a bit of a taste of what's to come.
I think it's a bit of a taste. I wouldn't say it's overly indicative of the sound or the sonic width of the record. You know, it's probably a bit more down the middle. So the record skews quite a bit to the left and right in a sonic sense, I suppose. But yeah, it's panned out pretty well actually. I've got a whole bunch of friends involved in the record, which there's a trailer online which I made for. The whole thing has been very hands-on for me, which is completely different to the previous 20 years. I mean, well, you know, in Powderfinger, obviously writing music and songs, but as for setting the website up and just all this other stuff, you know, I've been doing all of that, making clips, making EPKs, and I've been learning a lot about it. It's been a really good kind of journey so far, and good to kind of learn how things work that previously we had people do for us.
And a lot of that stuff didn't even exist or matter when you were starting out.
No, there were always things like EPKs, you know, electronic press kits, but I don't know, do they still exist these days, or am I just living in the past by still releasing these EPKs? But I think they're a great little thing to still do for a band. Mock up some sort of, you know, 2-minute thing from your perspective, not put together by a team of professional video editors, but you know, it's very personal kind of angle stuff, so yeah, I'm enjoying it.
And for recording this material, how are you going about that? Do you have your own studio? Are you working in someone else's?
A bit of both. There's a studio in Melbourne called Red Door, which is owned by Woody Aniston and Chris Chaney, and so I kind of got on board with those guys. I did some producing and songwriting and co-writing in there, and then I used that studio to do the bulk of the real drums on the album. There's a lot of electronic drums on there because my co-producer is more of an electronic style producer, and the rest of it was recorded in my little studio in Port Melbourne, and you know, taking my time, you know, when the lightning struck kind of vibe. Okay, I'll do some vocals now, good. So bits and pieces in different places over the course of 3 or 6 months.
You mentioned you're working with friends on the album, but at times do you take the approach and just go, I'm just going to do every instrument really quickly and someone else can...
Sometimes, you know, that's often just when good things happen, when you're not really planning on good things happening. You just go, okay, I'm just going to run with that, I'm just going to lay this down and I'll fix it later, and you don't fix it later because it's you know, it's just perfect how it is with its little flaws and holes. So, you know, that's the stuff I have always loved about making music in a studio, is not being super prepared for it. I like to get in there and have a bit of spontaneity and not know exactly what's going on, or just do something and just accept that's how it is. I'm going to leave it and move on. You know, otherwise you start this cycle of just second guessing and redoing and not quite getting it right, and just yeah.
So when can we expect the album? What's the time frame for you? Because it's kind of, this is sort of the launch almost for it.
It is. It's putting the toe back in the water, that's for sure, this whole BIGSOUND event for me. The album is scheduled to come out on November 1st, and we'll try to put out another single, I suppose, before then, or just put something out. I mean, there's a part 2 to the EPK, which I'll probably put out. There'll probably be a bunch of video things, because I started getting into short filmmaking in Melbourne, so I made a few short films and had them in festivals, and
cool.
Somehow, you know, I've always been interested in that anyway, so I'll probably end up making a whole bunch of little pieces for each song and then just putting them out, basically. So yeah, November 1st though is when it'll be out.
How did you get into the filmmaking side of things? Just kind of something you always were interested in giving a go?
Yeah, I've always been interested in it, and I've documented Powderfinger over the last 20 years in a still photography kind of sense. And then, you know, I was overseas and I bought a camera that did pretty good video, and I just, you know, I made a short film in Italy that was in the St Kilda Film Festival, the top 100 this last year, and just, I don't know, I can do it, and then I wrote the music for it, obviously, and so I just keep doing it. I've always been interested in just, you know, I can do it, so I do.
Has anyone ever approached you to score a film or anything like that?
Yeah, I've done bits of film scoring. I did. Powderfinger have always had bits of songs in films, but you know, I've always had a big mouth at the screenings with the directors going, you know, that song you chose, I reckon we could do something better, and then I get asked to come up with something, so that worked out well. Eric Bana had a movie out, and I raised my hand and said, that Dire Straits song, you know, I thought it was, could do better, and he went, you want to come up with something? And I went, sure. So I wrote something for that a little while ago, and yeah, I'm scoring a show for the ABC at the moment, which is really good fun. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good.
Now, definitely, what it sounds like you're able to do right now, you're in a really great position where you can put your finger in many different pies, and not even see what sticks, just enjoy the process of each.
Yeah, different artistic outlets, basically. You know, doing something that involves, I suppose, vision, you know, frees up the musical side, or you bring that back to the musical side and you see things in a different way. And, you know, I think it's good to sort of spread wings. There's lots of, you know, artists who are, say, songwriters end up doing painting as well, just because it's a different form of expression, but one benefits the other. Actually, I'll tell really quickly. We spent 6 months in Europe a year and a half ago, and there was a moment we were going through a whole bunch of art galleries, and I was looking at the paintings, and you know, it's taken me so long to kind of get to this point where I looked at the painting and went, great, there's a point of focus there. And then behind that point of focus, there's a whole bunch of conversations, literally, you know, people at tables, and the way the shadows fall, and there's all these layers and background, and that kind of became a bit of an ethos for music from now on for me, is like a painting. There's a point of something to grab you, and then there's things going on in the background that you just discover as you look further at the picture. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like very exciting, creative times, and I imagine you'll be getting back on the road again pretty soon.
I hope so. If people want to see me out there, then I'll be out there.